So we were actually one of the first test programs for the 6-week program. Now they've got it really good. I talked to a few of the new people that just cycled in, like even 4 transfers after. They talked to me about the difference that our feedback had given to this. The CCM is what it's called, Capacitación, Centro de Capacitación por Misioneros, Misional. Yeah, something like that. I can't remember. It's CCM is what we called it. And I remember, like, the first day is like a blur. You get there after a 17-hour flight, and you've traveled from 8 o'clock in the morning from where you live to 8 o'clock down in Buenos Aires in the morning. So you basically have worked your day, and it's super long. So once you arrive, you have to do a whole day with the CCM. And I was going to say something, but it's kind of interesting because you arrive in the airport and you're looking for the people. They don't have signs. They should have signs, but they didn't. And I remember one of my companions that I was traveling with, she looked at these men in suits, and they weren't wearing ties, but they looked pretty nice. They walked up to us and like, "Are you guys missionaries?" And we're like, yeah, like we don't speak any Spanish. And so, misioneros, and we're like, yes. And then one of my friends was like, "Are you guys really from the CCM?" Like, she was really like, "I don't know if I should go with you." But then you arrive, and they take you on a bus, and you get off, and there's the Buenos Aires temple, and then right to the right is the Capacitación, the MTC. And your first part, you go in and you get your badges. Your plaques, not like badge like a policeman, but like a plaque. And then they walk you through the regulations and the rules of the MTC and what you should expect and what rules you should follow, how you should dress, how you should act. And then they give you this like gigantic packet of like 6 weeks that you're going to go through Monday through Sunday, and what you're going to do, what your schedule is, what you need to be, who your new instructors are going to be. And so that goes for about 4 hours, about different things, different rules. No chewing gum. I didn't know that one. A girl brought an entire bag of like gum balls, and she couldn't use any of those in the MTC. But then there's also no photographs. You can't take any photographs except on P Day, which it changes every cycle. When I was there, it was Thursday, but when I heard, it's still Monday there right now, I think. But it can change. So P Day is the day where you can get things done. You can go get shopping done, your laundry. There's a lot more PE activities like ultimate frisbee, football, which is soccer. You can play American football too, and lots of basketball. The MTC down there is smaller. It's just like has like 3 floors, and on the bottom there's like the kitchen and a long hallway where we have meeting rooms. And then there's 2 stairways that go up each side of it. And then on the 2nd floor, it's divided. Girls are on one side and guys are on the other. And there's like a door there, so you can't ever get through. But then on the 2nd level, on the 3rd level, there's all the guys' dorms, and then the teaching area where all the teachers teach us. And every week, you're able to go to the temple. As an English speaker, you are trying to learn Spanish. So the whole program is designed for you to learn Spanish the quickest and the most easy to do way. They give you a lot of freedom. And so what I would suggest to a new missionary looking back and having 0 Spanish experience, I was not able to speak at all before my mission. And I think I could say hi and how are you, but that's it. I would definitely suggest really dividing up your time and starting to make goals. But don't just be like, "Oh yeah, goals," like, and then talk with your friend next to you in English. But it's important to like look through the books that they're going to give you, their little red books, and read the front. Like there's like, you open it up and there's like a title page, and then the next page tells you how to use the book. That helped me so much, and I wish I would have found that like my first day. And but I found it like my 3rd week, and I was like, man, what was I doing? But I just think Spanish is one of those things that for me was more than just, I have to speak it, I have to be it, I have to think about it, I have to formulate it. And so what I would suggest for your hour of study, if I could suggest this to a fresh off missionary, is divide your hour slot into 3 sections. Your first one, and always start with a prayer. Like, I don't know if you guys know this, but the Lord wants us to learn a foreign language. It's not like He's saying, I'm going to punish you and you're not ever going to learn it. That's a lie that Satan wants us to understand. And what happens is that you lose a lot of time if you worry about, well, I'm not worthy, or no, like the Lord knows you're worthy and He sent you. So divide your studies into 3 sections. The first one is your Book of Mormon. And I highly suggest that you put your whole time into studying the Book of Mormon, because it will be your valuable tool on the mission. What I suggest is that you get a Book of Mormon in English and a Book of Mormon in Spanish, and you can read it side by side. But it's most important if you can get a dictionary and look up every single word. If you only get through 4 verses in that 20-minute section, that's okay. It'll be just fine, because I know that it helped me. And even though I saw my friends next to me, or my companion, when I got my companion, my first one, I'll talk about that later, she was just whizzing through, and I was like, oh my goodness, I can barely get through 4 verses. I can barely get through them. It was, if Spanish was a tangible object, you would want to throw it out the window, and you would want to stomp on it and break it, or whatever. You get fed up with it, but it's okay. Everyone goes through that. And I love how you're not alone when you're going through Spanish and you're learning a new language. And I think that in general, people admire you for learning it. The second part of the 3-part study is that you need to have a further light in knowledge, is what I call it. It's where you read general conference issues, or Liahona. There are tons and tons and tons of ensigns and magazines from the church that are in your houses. And it's kind of like a standard issue that comes with the houses. And if not, ask for some. And there's always some at transfers. You can go get some and study those for the next 6 weeks. And it's so fun to read the current words, because the scriptures are ancient. The way that they're written is more in vosotros and tú. And so how we talk as missionaries is usted and ustedes, which is not vosotros and tú. It's the same, but it's not. It's more past tense and more antiguo is what it's called, ancient. And so with the written word of General Conference and Liahona, you get this present now tense, the present formal, and I speak like I'm from 2014, which is really quite nice, because then you can practice both. You can get the scripture language, which you share with investigators every day, and you can get the modern day language down. And I suggest reading a ton. If you can get any book, if you can get your standard works, what is it? Yeah, I definitely suggest getting the standard works, the Bible and the Book of Mormon, everything in Spanish. And I also suggest getting one of them, like Jesus the Christ. I wouldn't suggest that book, but Our Search for Happiness, or Our Legacy, I think is what it's called. I would get one of those in Spanish, because it's so helpful to have one of those. Because then you can practice your Spanish there. So next, third block of the study time, I would definitely divide it into grammar. And sometimes you put the grammar first if you don't like grammar. I always put it last, because I felt like I learned a lot in my readings, that I would be able to apply it, and then I could go back and refer to my readings every single time. And I liked that because I could apply it more fully into my mind. It was more embedded. And so with the grammar section, I suggest going through that red book that they gave you, and going through present, past, preterite, imperfect, all those different tenses, and work your way up to knowing those. So that's the 3 sections. For English speakers, I totally forgot about this, but you go out into Buenos Aires and you proselyte for 4 to 7 hours out there, with 0 Spanish. And you're there with your companion, and it's you go out there, Book of Mormon's pamphlets in your hand, and you're so ready to talk to everyone and anyone, and then you get lost because there's a maze, and then you have to find your way back, and you have so many crazy experiences, but it's so worth it. I'm so glad we had that experience. And so in the CCM, I just wanted to put that in there as you go out and you come back from the MTC every week. You have 5 trips.